Left wing, right wing, blah, blah, blah. Liberal,
So we're
conservative.
with the band again, Thunderbird. This time we have 3/4 of the band here instead
Hey.
of 2/3 or 2/4.
75 cents on our way to $1.
This time we have Chris Singer, Tyson Rupp, and Chris Hudson.
Sandwich of Chris's.
Is this the Oreo? The Chris Oreo? We got the whitest guy in the middle.
White bread. Good times.
Tyson's jail nickname.
See, these are the types of interview scenarios we need.
So, in the last pieces of interviews that we had, we kind of talked about what the band has in store as far as future plans, or I guess goals. And we kind of touched on the fact that you have an EP that you're working on now. We're hoping to see it come out January 1st or so, around that time frame. What would be your long-term or midterm goal? Because we all have the same goal, trying to get the EP out. We know that.
Right.
But what would you say your midterm goal would be?
Midterm, I think, focusing on, we've gotten a significant amount of tracking. I mean, at this point, that is, lightly edited and lightly produced. And, our midterm goals at this point are focusing on getting the rest of those elements organized, as far as a mix is concerned, and making sure that whatever elements we're putting into the music at this point are sufficient for the, what we're trying to make the music. And, I mean, at this stage of the game, I mean, we're going to be pushing, in the next, couple of months to have finals of, the majority of the material that we have at this point, and obviously finishing, some of the newer stuff, that we were playing around with earlier. So, a lot of new ideas are all kind of coming at once, and this is a time for us to, start playing with some new things, as well as, refining and polishing, the stuff that we kind of have in the repertoire at this point. And, and moving forward, we want to, get those last little details polished out while, kind of continuing this writing process so that we can have, some more music available for our fan base, and spend some more time getting the rest of the details of, getting an album put together. There's obviously a lot of other details that have to be attended to, but, just trying to get the music ready for, for the fan base to, enjoy and hopefully like.
Cool. I guess this leads into, obviously, when you make music, you should perform it.
Right.
The next logical thinking step would be, okay, what kind of venues or what kind of shows would you be interested in playing in the future? Well, say, let's preface this with Tyson and Chris's, or Hudson. I gotta get used to calling him Hudson because now we have two different
Hudson and
Chris's.
Singer.
And
Yeah.
it's confusing.
Sorry.
That's why we made that system.
These
Devised
guys,
that a long time ago.
in the last interview, they talked about their long-term goal, probably by the end of next year, to be able to open up for Imagine Dragons. What other kind of venues or what other festivals or shows have you been thinking about?
I mean, festival-wise, I mean, there's a festival that's coming up. That's the Pot of Gold Festival, and we were talking earlier about possibly trying to maybe see about opening for some of the talent that they have at that show. There's other music festivals that are going on around the country. We are going to have a solid financial foundation to be able to afford going out to festivals out of state, or in other venues outside. For musicians to make a living and to actually eat at the end of the day, that requires making money, and you can't play for 5 people at the bar and survive on that. So I don't want to say that we want to be picky about the places that we play. But we've had enough trunk space experience to,
Inside joke.
we have enough trunk space experience at this point, right?
Oh, boy.
To basically, decide that there's obviously a level at which, we want to be able to perform at, and that's not for, the dive bar scene. And I mean, a lot of places, that's where a lot of talent has to make their start, is, playing for almost nobody. You're impressing the bartender and the bar owner, and that's it.
Right.
So we did that.
And and we've done
There
that.
has to,
Obviously be an expectation that when we put on a show, it's a great show, and that when people book us to to do shows, that we're making something for our time, because between the travel, the gas, the food, and obviously having something in your pocket to pay taxes with at the end of the day. You're not going to have it playing the dive bar scene on a regular basis, unless there's a really big dive bar with a really big community that really loves your music and they're willing to pay. So we want to expand out of Arizona, definitely, but getting to a point where we're organized enough, and having the the music ready first. Obviously, we don't want to jump off the deep end and get out there without anything to sell. Having part of making money in the industry is having something to sell someone, and we're at a point right now where we're in the process of getting that product ready to go, but we haven't hit the all of the marks in terms of making the stuff ready to be purchased immediately, and focusing on that January deadline, I think is good for us to be able to make the decisions that we need to make, so that moving forward we can have that final product ready to go and get out and tour in bigger cities, and obviously for bigger acts. We want to be on that stage with that quality and showmanship level of performers. So if we can make that happen by our own means, or by the means of supporters, and it obviously with support things happen much faster, but when you're doing it on your own, it's a process, and there's a lot of work that's involved, and the three of us, I think, have experienced enough frustration over the last 6 months of rehearsing and playing a couple of shows, and trying to work on new material, and trying to get stuff recorded and get produced. It's not a one-shot thing, and it definitely takes a considerable amount of time. So what we've invested at this point, I think has prepared us to head down that road. But we still got a lot of legwork to do before we can commit to going out and doing that on a regular basis. And I think we're still developing a lot of our sound, just between the three of us working together.
Calendar's a mess. These weeks sit together like ain't on a page. I'm sleeping way too much.